Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Lifetime Legacy Lawyer podcast. I am Thomas Vick, joined by my co host, Seth Wilson. Seth, how are you today?
Doing great, Thomas. It is quickly becoming fall here in Indiana, in the central part of the state, and so we've got the rain and the leaves changing and the cooler temperatures. So it's a good reminder that seasons change and they change pretty rapidly around here.
And we've got a special guest with us today on the podcast. Todd Howard of Halo Senior Solutions joins us. And we're glad to have him. We're going to talk to him about what he does to help seniors and his unique business. And I'm looking forward to the conversation we're going to have with Todd today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's get started, Thomas. Thomas, appreciate that introduction. Todd, why don't you tell us who you are and a little bit about how you got connected with Halo?
Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate you guys having me on today. So I'm Todd Howard, like you said. I've got a wife, Kristen, of 25 years. I always start out with that because that's the most important part. And she's been a part of this journey. But we started Halo about 9 years ago here in Indianapolis because we believe that too many families face unnecessary hardships when they're transitioning loved ones to assisted living. I had a personal experience that with my grandmother who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and then my family, mother, aunts, etc., converged on a house, and that was the impetus for the idea behind Halo. And so we just thought there should be an easier way to do this. So what we've created is a one-call transition. So ideally, when a family is about to face this, if we're their first call, then we'll be their only call. We've identified probably 9 to 10 different, call it service paths that they're going to have to address or go through to make a good transition. Think of things like placement. Okay, where's mom or dad going to move to? What's the right community for them? So placement's a category. Whether they're going to have to sell a house or deal with the house. Secondly, the contents inside of the house. Are we going to sell it, auction it, etc.? And so those are the types of service lines I'm talking about. But if a family connects with us early, for the last 9 years, we have developed great systems and relationships with key vendors in the central Indiana region that are all experts in this field. So we will oversee every aspect of a family's move from that first call and where they're going to move to all the way through the sale of a house and everything in between. And so that's what we really wanted to focus on was that one call transition so that the family, the adult kids wouldn't continue to get overwhelmed. The move gets pushed off a little or the tensions start to rise or the emotion gets crazy. And so that's the ideal way to use Halo. If somebody happens to get to us downstream, where maybe they've already done some of that, they know where they're going to move mom or dad, or maybe they've even cleaned out the house some, then we'll just try and give them a free consultation as to we feel like you're missing this piece, and we'll connect them directly to our partners who can help them fill in those gaps. So that's
Yeah.
the way the Halo system works today. And so, like I said, we've been doing that for almost 10 years, 9 years for sure, and probably have helped more than 250 families in the central Indiana region. And I should say throughout the U.S. We've probably served families in 20, I think, other states that were doing some form of a move, bringing mom closer or, mom going from here to there. So,
Wonderful, wonderful. So, uh, Todd, in my experience as an elder law attorney, this transition from mom living at home to mom living at an assisted living facility, or maybe mom going from a home to maybe straight to the nursing home, there are certain pain points that I've seen over the years that make that a stressful situation. And one of those is just the practicalities of moving mom's stuff out of the house. Can you kind of talk about that and how Halo Solutions can kind of help with that situation?
sure, it's a great point and a very common one, like you said. We found that early on, mom, and we'll just call her mom. We'll assume this is all we're
Yeah.
talking about are our mothers. Mom may have visited a community, got excited about the idea of getting some relief and making a move and helping, live a different lifestyle. But as soon as she left that community, she was already lamenting and fearing and, nervous about, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? There's too much stuff in the house. What would I do with your father's stuff? Do the kids want my china cabinet? And on and on. So they would almost talk themselves out of it, so to speak, before it even got a chance to become real. So to your point, Thomas, what we can do is again, if the client talks to us early enough, and quite often we'll get the community admissions person to call us while they're still there at the actual community. If we can quell those fears of, there are companies that'll help you do this. It can happen. We've helped plenty of others like you. If we start removing those fears before they're allowed to build them up too much and get too anxious, it's a much smoother process. So what we'll do is usually one of two meetings. Let's assume that mom's got to sell the house too. She owns a house and she's going to sell it, and she's got to deal with all the stuff on the inside. Usually we'll call in what we call one of our senior move manager partners. This is a hand-holding mover, if you will. Think of it like the adult daughter, as we're three men sitting around here talking.
Mm-hmm.
So this person's going to go in, sit with mom, talk to the family, and just find out what all the needs and priorities are. We're going to talk about all those possessions. We're going to be able to put eyes on, things and figure out whether they have value, whether they have auction value, whether they're everyday routine things that could be donated, or whether they're just items that need to be recycled. And so the senior move manager is going to be able to assess in just one visit what this looks like. And we have resources for each path. If you've got high-end collectibles, we've got resources for that. If you've got a house that you think's full of valuables and the kids all know, oh gosh, this is not full of valuables, we've got resources for that. But honoring mom's desires and the ability to transition, will come in, do an assessment, give them kind of the clear custom package of how are we going to go about identifying things that need to go to the new community with you? How are we going to deal with things that might be sold because they have value? How are we going to deal with things that the kids want? And then on down the line. So our senior move manager will work with the family to get through that. And that goes as fast or as slow as they want. They're always the holdup. We've never met a family who we couldn't outpace. So it really, though, goes at the family and mom's pace. So it's a custom solution in that regards. And then the second appointment they have is with somebody on our realtor team. And then that becomes just a specific conversation about the house itself and the strategies for, maximizing their sale price that way.
Yeah, and Seth, if you have a question, you can go ahead. I was going to follow up with you, Todd, on sort of the sales of real estate. In my time as an elder law attorney, I've seen situations where, maybe it's an estate administration that went sideways and probably didn't go the way that the decedent wanted it to go, and some unique planning had to take place. And maybe it's with somebody who's willing to sell a house that also willing to purchase a house and allow the seller to live there for a certain amount of time, just to be able to make the situation workable for the individuals involved. Talk to us a little bit about Halo can help with that.
Yeah, because we have three divisions now. So to your point, Thomas, early on, we learned that if you just could only offer typical realtor services, yes, we can list the house and let's go through the listing steps. We were I want to say without value in a lot of situations. We just weren't a good fit because the family situation didn't lend itself to, we're not, like a 30-year-old couple who's ready to put a house on the market. So we developed a third division called Halo Property Group that really acts as a construction and a finance arm. So as we're doing our initial assessments with the family, and we're asking a lot of questions about their priorities, their speed, What are we really looking to do? Must we maximize every penny out of the house because it's paying for mom's care, or has mom got means? And so the adult kid's priority is maybe, look, we just need to get this finished because we've got families, back in our other states that we have to get taken care of. Every family's different. So we set it up this way so that when we start finding out more about the client's situation, if it lends itself to a creative solution, we can offer that. So, of course, we can just sell the house like normal. We're really good at that. But we've also bought clients' homes, and what we call a quick buy program that gives them the ability to custom the entire transition. They can leave everything they want sitting where it is and only take the items that are important to them, and we'd be left with everything else. That's just one solution we've come up with. We've also bought and leased back homes to families before when, again, the situation calls for it and we need to be creative. We've got that flexibility to do it. So we're very unique from other realtors in how we listen and ask questions to a family, because we can customize their solution as opposed to, I'm just thinking of how we're going to list your house. So it really does allow us to listen to the family's priorities and desires and really cater the fix to that. And then to your point, if it's an estate and, we're called in after the fact, and now, we've got adult kids or loved ones that are dealing with the house kind of after the fact, same thing. We're able to look at it with really clear vision, not, channel vision of we've just got to sell it this way. So we've got a long list of different solutions we can discuss with a family. And of course, as you guys know, the market changes. There for a 2 to 4 year period, anybody in the world could sell a house. Just walk out the door and go, I'm selling. But before that, 60, 90 days was an average time on market. And if you had an older home that really, had some deferred maintenance and mom and dad really had let it go, you were going to be in for a little bit more of a ride. So the interest rates and the market itself are things that we always have to be wary of. And again, because we're not just handcuffed into one solution, we're really able to, I think, be a big benefit to the families.
Yeah, and I think Halo Senior Solutions is really neat from my perspective, because I see individuals that are placed into a nursing home, and maybe I'm assisting the family with getting a loved one into the nursing home and on Medicaid. And I may have a previous relationship with that nursing home and have some perspective about the kind of care, or at least the perspective of former clients' opinion on the level of care a loved one received. And it seems like you're sort of in the same position, because you work with so many seniors and you actually help out with selecting facilities for the family's loved ones. And kind of talk to us a little bit about your experience and how you're able to assist in making the right choice for the loved one.
Yeah. So we've partnered there are unique, and we'll call them specialized placement service companies. There are, of course, some national behemoths that are in the business of just suggesting and recommending perfect or communities that are a good fit. And then there are a lot of different national franchise companies where, I own the franchise and my heart's in it because this is what I'm choosing to do. It's affected me in a personal way. So we really work tightly with, probably in this area, 3 or 4 placement service specialists where they own it, and they're the ones who are literally walking mom and dad into the communities to do the tour. So that personalized service, I think, helps us match up the family's unique situation with the right placement service. Secondly, you mentioned Medicaid and Medicare. And so because, again, this is our only niche, we are really well versed at how Medicare and Medicaid affect some of what you guys do with regards to filing for apps, and what are the rules regarding which assets I can have. And, what if we sell a house, maybe for under assessed value because, it was really in rough condition? How is that going to be viewed, or what will we need to do for you to satisfy the laws of Medicaid, down the line? These are all things that we deal with every week and month, like you guys. So we're really able to complement your strategy for the family and the path that you want them on. Seems like a very natural fit for us.
So Todd, the my practice area doesn't always delve into the elder care side, but I deal with lots of individuals who are in that sandwich generation where they are the individuals caring for their mom and dad and for their children coming up. Can you talk us through a little bit of the demographic of what's the reality of this now aging into care and maybe facing some of these concerns?
Yeah, it's a great point and one that I have personal experience with. So I'm in late 50s and I am blessed to have all, four parents. I've got both my parents and my in-laws with me, and they're all the same age, 84-year-old men and 82-year-old ladies. So we are definitely sandwiched right now. And on any given day, I mean, I think the statistic that I read most often is more than 10,000 people will turn 65 every day. And so along with that comes a lot of other statistics because we're living longer. Our divorce rates are higher. Our parents are outliving their kids because we didn't have as large of a family. So we're also distant and transient. We're a very transient society in America. So kids are thousands of miles away from parents. So we are seeing more and more an isolated parent kind of on their own who doesn't live within blocks or even miles of a child. And the parent's first statement is always, I don't want to be a burden on my kids. So they'll try and soldier on or take on too much of that. And that's where things start, tripping up and happening is out of good intention when the kids are really distant. So I do think there's a phrase called silver tsunami, and it is the description of how many elderly are coming and aging in towards our world. And so I do think we're going to see this only exacerbate, certainly because all the institutional options they have certainly can't hold what's about to come towards, the assisted living communities. So it's going to be a big challenge. I think it's a challenge the industry understands long before COVID. COVID just really shined a light on it. But it's definitely going to be an interesting area for all of us from a legal and a transitional spot.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate what you do, and it's evident to me based on our conversations that this is a very high passion area for you, and that shows in how you care for the folks who hire you to help. And so on that end, how do folks compensate Halo for what they do?
Yeah, great question. So when clients call us, if we're able to engage them and they think we're a good fit and they're going to have us project manage the whole system, there's a one-time fee, probably ranges anywhere from, I'd say 500 to I think 3,000 has been the max. And to give you some context, the 3,000 was it was a huge house and a multi-state move and multiple people. So it'd have to be pretty extensive and I'll call it a hot mess for it to reach that range. Most of our clients, it's in that probably $1,000 to $1,500 range. And that is a one-time fee, regardless of how long we're serving you. So if you've called us and you're just kicking tires about this downsize to independent living, and this thing may go on for 4, 5, 8 months, that fee doesn't change. You don't pay a second fee. We're with you the whole time. So, and that's by design. We didn't want you to ever feel like the egg timer was moving. And we also wanted you to encourage you to call us first so you're not having to make all those other calls and try and figure that out. We've certainly done, I'll call it pro bono work as well when the situation calls for it and it's just the right thing to do. So it's a one-time fee for us. And let's say they've already done some of the work and we don't feel like a one-time fee or us, engaging with them is their best move. Maybe we just need to suggest this or this as a fix. Then that's no charge. We just connect them directly with our approved vendors, and then they're just free to use that vendor how they see fit. That's for Halo Senior Solutions. Then, of course, if they engage us with the sale of a house, then that usually is governed with typical real estate fees, that type of thing.
Very good. Thomas, other questions?
I don't know that I have any other questions. I just think it's, I've told you this before, Todd, off air, that you're going to be a huge resource for my clients in the future who get into situations like this. And I got to meet you through Seth. I think you guys randomly met each other as well, but I think it's going to be a benefit for all involved. And I'm just glad that we're able to have you on the podcast and be able to kind of spread the message about Halo Senior Solutions and how it can really help folks.
Well, we appreciate it. It's no matter who we meet, you guys are certainly in a position to be exposed to this because of your professions. But I'm no matter who I meet in whatever setting it is, as soon as I tell them what we do, there's almost always oh my God, I just went through this, or oh, my uncle just did this, or it affects us all. Death and taxes. We always joke about. Well, aging is part of that. Aging, death, and taxes, because nobody ever went the reverse path. So it's going to be something that we'll all have to deal with in one way or another. So
absolutely. Well, and it's funny. Life is all about relationships, right? And so I think Todd, you and I met through a mutual friend of mine, and what a hand and glove fit for the type of service that we offer for our clients. And really that's the goal, right? We want to provide resources so that whoever's going through that scenario doesn't feel alone. There are resources and supports there that hopefully won't break the bank for you, but are really a good return on investment to help, like we always talk about on the podcast, of getting that peace of mind through that proper planning. And this is just one more component and service offering that I think can be really beneficial for those who kind of fall into that demographic.
Yeah, I appreciate everything you guys do. Obviously, a lot of our work, includes you as the questions and the analysis start with the families and the deep dive. A lot of times it's back to, hey, there are some things you could and should do. You need to make sure you're seeking good legal counsel so you can take care of these things and not be the burden on your child. That pre-planning is the best thing you can do, is what we tell them. Yeah. So you guys provide an unbelievable service.
Well, Todd, we do this every time, and I'm going to ask you, how can people get in touch with you, Todd Howard of Halo Senior Solutions?
Sure. No, I appreciate it. First of all, they can always find us on the web, haloseniorsolutions.com. We're on Facebook as well, Halo Senior Move Solutions. They can always call us, 833-284-HALO, or basically 833-284-4256. Or they can email us at info@haloseniorsolutions.com. So
awesome. Well, and you can find us, Thomas, up here in the heart of Hamilton. That's awesome. We'll put some links to that in the show notes as well. So if folks are perusing either YouTube or the audio podcast, you'll be able to click on those links and go right to Halo. And Thomas, we'll put our web address in there. We are here in the heart of Hamilton County, Noblesville, Indiana, and that's our web address, noblesvilleattorney.com. How about yourself?
All right. And my name's Thomas Vick of Vick Law PC in Greenwood, Indiana. The best way to reach me is by going to vicklaw.org. Well, I appreciate it, fellas, and we'll talk to everybody next time.
Absolutely. Thank you both.
Thank you, Todd and Thomas. Good to see you.